All right, guys, with inflation sort of being topic of everybody's minds and recessions and whatnot, everyone's sort of curious, what jobs can I work right now in order to survive the recession, inflation, whatever it may be? So here's a list that I have come up with 3 jobs and 1 bonus of medical jobs that can survive inflation and recessions. In order to make this list that I myself have created in no particular rhyme or reason fashion, I have said that you have to have one thing, and that is be a certification. A degree is not necessary, so that is sort of my parameters. You also have to be over or around $18.39 per hour. Once you do the math out, that is how much you need to survive in the world today. In the United States today, you need to make a minimum of $18.39 per hour on a 40-hour week to survive inflation. That is the cost of living currently. Let's go ahead and start off with my first pick. May be a surprise, may not be a surprise. Pharmacy technician. Now, here locally, pharmacy technician can be either a degree or workforce learning, where you learn on the job and become a pharm tech through your employer. Yes, here locally, that is a fact. Currently, right now, the average across the United States is $17.64. So a little bit less than what the cost of living is. However, your local area may be a little bit more. All depends on your area. However, pretty close at $17.64 an hour. Phlebotomy. Phlebotomy comes up. Of course, everybody knows, you see those weekend signs that say, hey, phlebotomy class, take it over the weekend, things like that. And yes, you could do that. You could also take it at a community college and get a certification that way. It does not take very long. Phlebotomy comes in at $19.61 per hour. So just over the inflation cost of living for 2022. Not looking too bad in phlebotomy. Possibly more jobs in pharm tech than phlebotomy, as pharm techs are at all of your local pharmacies or your national chain pharmacies. Some of your grocery stores have pharm techs, so probably more jobs in pharmacy technician than there is in phlebotomy. However, phlebotomy is looking better as far as getting paid over the cost of living for 2022. Last one on my list of the 3 comes in as no surprise to me. Definitely, in my opinion, this is the highest paying position you can have without any sort of education in medical field. All you really need is the certification. Oftentimes it is done on the job. It takes about 18 months here locally to get this. Pharmacy technician, I'm sorry, not pharmacy technician, dialysis technician. To become a dialysis tech, a full-on tech, takes about 18 months here in North Carolina before you can be eligible to take your test, because you do have to take a test. You do have to get in your hours. However, you get paid while you're working for that 18 months. You still get paid. Not quite the same amount, but you still get paid. Now, I did not trust the national average, as it was somewhere around $40 an hour. I did not trust that, so I went with my local North Carolina average for a dialysis tech. $26.40 per hour. A good bit over what the average is for the cost of living for 2022. Quite a bit over the average for cost of living in 2022. Probably the hardest you will work will be as a dialysis tech out of the 3 positions. Job availability is there. Probably about the same as phlebotomy, as there are national chain dialysis centers. I'm thinking of DaVita, Fresenius. Both of those are national chains. There's also local chains. I myself worked for a local hospital that had a dialysis unit attached to it. Whew, gracious, that took a good bit out of me. And finally, I did pick one more to go on this list that does need some education, or you can do it through workforce learning on your job, and that is a CMA or an RMA. This job pays a little less at $17.82 per hour. Doesn't quite meet the criteria because you still need some sort of education in most cases. Of course, to become an RMA, you need a lot of workforce. I believe it's something like 5 years here locally. So not quite as easy to obtain as the other three, but I definitely included it, and one of the biggest reasons why I included it is job growth and the ability to move up the ladder. In any of the other three positions, you sort of become a farm tech or a phlebotomist or a dialysis tech, and that's sort of going to be the end of it. CMAs, RMAs can, and sometimes do, become management material. You could be an office manager. You could be an office manager. You could be a scheduler. You could become various other things as a CMA. So the job growth and the ability to grow is higher as a CMA. Simply why I included it on this list. As I said before, they come a little bit less than inflation, a cost of living at $17.82 per hour. So a little bit less, but a little bit more than a farm tech. The degree will take you about a year to get, a year to 2 years, depending upon your program. Or like I said, you can do workforce development, and that's going to take you about 5 years, at least here locally, to obtain. So this is my list for 3 jobs that are inflation proof, inflation recession proof, and one sort of bonus fella out there. None of these were nursing. Notice that I did not mention a CNA, as there's probably most job availability as a CNA, but they just don't pay enough. And there's no room for growth as a CNA. They just don't pay them enough, and it's a terrible situation. I wish that CNAs got paid more than what they do. Whew. If you like this list, let me know. I hope it helps. Thank you much.